me, baby. All you gotta do is call. You know that I'll be. Beach baby, give me your hand, give me something.
Do you remember the songs that once played on nearly every radio in 1974 and then suddenly disappeared? Some songs once climbed the charts and were played over and over every day, but the artists behind them were almost completely forgotten by music history.
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun.
If you grew up in 1974, chances are you'll recognize many of these songs from the very first notes. A few of these songs may surprise you because they have strange and fascinating stories behind them that you never knew at the time.
There were funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown.
These are 15 one-hit wonders that only those who grew up with the music of 1974 will truly remember. Number 1. Rock Your Baby, George McCrae. In 1974, America was still listening to soul, funk, and the rhythms that were beginning to pull people out of their seats. But no one knew that one of the earliest sounds of the disco era would begin with a studio mishap. Rock Your Baby was originally written for another singer, while George McCrae only stepped in to sing because his wife was late. One accidental moment created a hit that reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and the R&B chart. The drum machine, guitar, and smooth vocals made the song sound like a whisper across the dance floor. It is still remembered because sometimes music history does not begin with a perfect plan, but with someone unexpectedly being in the right place at the right time. Number 2. I Can Help, Billy Swan.
You need a hand, I can assure you this, I can help.
In 1974, Americans were living amid uncertainty, inflation, and a culture changing day by day. Against that backdrop, a simple song that felt like a neighbor knocking on your door became something special. Billy Swan wrote I Can Help with a melody so friendly that it was almost impossible to resist.
Don't forget me, baby. All you gotta do is call. You know that I'll be.
The song feels like a friend saying, "Don't worry, I can help." It reached number 1 in America and became Swan's biggest hit. What is interesting is that its homespun sound kept the song from feeling like an overly polished production. It sounded familiar, warm, and real. That is exactly why, decades later, people still smile when they hear it again.
When I go to sleep at night, you're always a part of my dream.
Number 3. Seasons in the Sun, Terry Jacks.
Goodbye, my friend, it's hard to die.
There is something strange about Seasons in the Sun. The melody sounds almost cheerful, but the story behind it is actually a goodbye. In 1972, America was trying to find gentle moments amid war, politics, and social upheaval. 2 years later, Terry Jacks turned the song into one of the biggest hits of 1974.
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun.
The song reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and several international charts. But its origins began with Jacques Brel's Le Moribond, a song about a dying man. That contrast is what makes the song unforgettable. You can sing along with the melody and then suddenly realize that you are listening to a farewell.
The stars we could reach, we're just starfish on the beach.
Number 4. Beach Baby, The First Class. In 1974, songs about summer, cars, and the beach were still an essential part of the American dream. Beach Baby appeared a few years later, but sounded like a postcard sent backward to that era. What is especially interesting is that the familiar voice behind the hit belonged to Tony Burrows, one of the most famous studio singers that very few people recognized.
Beach baby, give me your hand, give me something.
He had contributed vocals to several different hit records, often becoming famous without actually appearing in front of the public. Beach Baby reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, and perhaps that is why the song remains so intriguing. Millions remember the voice, but very few remember the face behind it. Number 5. Hooked on a Feeling, Blue Swede.
I can't stop this feeling.
In 1974, American radio could turn an unfamiliar melody into a shared memory for an entire generation. But Hooked on a Feeling needed something more special than that. The song had already been recorded by B.J. Thomas, but Blue Swede transformed it into an entirely different experience with the famous Ooga Chaka chant.
Hooked on a feeling.
That opening came from Jonathan King's version, and Blue Swede pushed it to the front like an irresistible hook. The result? The song reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1974. You may forget the lyrics, forget the name of the band, but just a few seconds of that opening can bring the memory rushing back. That is the power of a perfect hook.
I said I'm hooked on a feeling.
Number 6. Kung Fu Fighting, Carl Douglas. In the early 1970s, America was swept up in martial arts movies, fighting scenes, and a growing fascination with Asian culture. Kung Fu Fighting arrived at exactly the right moment, but at first, it was almost just a throwaway song. Carl Douglas recorded it quickly during a studio session, with playful martial arts sounds, as if no one thought it would become a phenomenon. Then, the unexpected happened. The song climbed to number 1 in America and became one of the defining hits of the 1970s. It is still remembered because it never tried to be serious. The song was simple, fun, and catchy. And sometimes, the things that seem like jokes are the ones that live the longest. Number 7. The Night Chicago Died, Paper Lace.
When the town of Chicago died.
Did you know that one of the most famous crime stories on the radio did not actually happen the way the song tells it? The Night Chicago Died takes listeners back to Chicago during the Al Capone era, with gunshots, police, and a city in chaos. But Paper Lace was a British band, and the song created a cinematic historical story more than a factual one.
I heard my mom cry.
In 1974, it reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. What makes the song memorable is the way it turns history into a movie that lasts only a few minutes. You hear the gunshots in your imagination, feel the panic, and then sing along with the chorus. Not completely accurate, but incredibly unforgettable. Number 8. Please Come to Boston, Dave Loggins. America in the early 1970s was a country of people constantly moving, searching for new jobs, new cities, and a better life. Please Come to Boston touches that exact feeling. Each city in the song promises a different future: Boston, Denver, Los Angeles. But the farther the narrator travels, the more he realizes that he is lonely.
Please come to Denver with snowfall.
Dave Loggins turned homesickness into a gentle ballad without needing a huge dramatic climax. The song reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1974. It is still remembered because the story is simple but familiar. Sometimes you can travel across the country chasing a dream, only to realize that the person you need is back where you just left.
Ain't no gold and there ain't nobody like me.
Number 9. Rock and Roll, Hoochie Coo, Rick Derringer.
Stop moving when it first took hold.
In 1974, American rock still carried the wild spirit of the 1960s, but the new sound was becoming harder, dirtier, and louder. Rick Derringer was not a newcomer to the music business. He had already found fame with the McCoys and Hang On Sloopy. But Rock and Roll, Hoochie Coo became his solo statement.
Rock and roll, Hoochie Coo.
The song had been recorded before, but Derringer's version created the big explosion on the radio. It reached the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100. What keeps the song alive is a guitar that does not ask anyone for permission. Just a few seconds into that riff, you know immediately, this is not a song you sit still for. Number 10, The Lord's Prayer, Sister Janet Mead. In an era when radio was filled with rock, soul, funk, and upbeat novelty hits, a song based on a prayer suddenly appeared. Sister Janet Mead was an Australian Catholic nun, and the Lord's Prayer sounded like an idea that could never succeed on the pop charts. But the recording's drums, guitars, and powerful energy made people pay attention. The song reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1974. What made it special was not only the fact that a nun briefly became a pop star, it was the sincerity. In an era changing so quickly, the song reminded listeners that radio could still make room for something unexpected, simple, and sacred. Number 11, Life is a Rock, but the Radio Rolled Me, Reunion.
BB Bumble and the Stingers, Martha Hooper, Rachel Singers, Lonnie Mack, Twang, and Eddie Higsman, ring, we're going steady, take it.
If you grew up with the radio, this song feels like your entire youth being thrown into a high-speed blender. Life is a Rock was created by the studio group Reunion, with Joey Levine rattling off the names of artists, songs, record labels, and musical memories at a speed that was almost impossible to follow. In 1974, the song reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. It did not sound like an ordinary hit. It sounded like a memory test. Every time you hear it again, you discover another name or reference, and that is why it is still remembered. The song does not just talk about the radio. It is a radio station running at full speed. Number 12, Eres Tu, Mocedades. In 1974, American music was still heard primarily in English, but a great melody has never needed translation. Eres Tu proved that. After attracting attention at Eurovision, the song by the Spanish group Mocedades crossed into the American market and became an international hit. It reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1974. The remarkable thing is that listeners did not need to understand every word to feel the tenderness in the vocals and melody. Eres Tu did not try to become an American song. It kept its own identity, and that is exactly what made it stand out. Decades later, just hearing the opening can still bring back the special feeling of a song that crossed a language barrier. Number 13, Midnight at the Oasis, Maria Muldaur. Imagine listening to the radio on a hot night in early 1970s America. Then a song appears with the desert, an oasis, romance, and a guitar so laid back that it almost seems to be smiling. That is Midnight at the Oasis. Maria Muldaur turned the song into one of the most distinctive sounds of 1974. The song reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and even received Grammy nominations for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. But what makes it last is not just its chart success, it is the atmosphere. The song sounded like nothing else on the radio. It was seductive, funny, slightly strange, and completely impossible to mistake for anything else. Number 14, Smokin' in the Boys' Room, Brownsville Station.
Everybody knows that smoking ain't allowed in school.
Schools in the early 1970s had rules, bells, teachers, and hallways that every student felt they needed to escape. Smokin' in the Boys' Room turned a small act of rebellion into a rock anthem. Brownsville Station did not need any grand philosophy. They only needed a bathroom, a little mischief, and the nervous excitement of doing something you were not supposed to do.
Smoking in the boys' room. Yeah! Smoking in the...
The song reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became the band's biggest hit. Years later, another cover version introduced the song to a new generation, but the original still has its own energy, laughter, rebellion, and the feeling of youth challenging every rule.
Put me to work in the school bookstore. Check out...
Number 15. Be thankful for what you got. William DeVaughn.
May not drive a great
In an early 1970s America, caught up in materialism, uncertainty, and the race to have more, William DeVaughn delivered a completely different message. Be thankful for what you got sounds like a song about a Cadillac, but beneath the image of diamond in the back, sunroof top, is a reminder that a person's value does not come from the things they own.
But remember, brothers and sisters.
The song reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1974. What makes it still remembered is the way it delivers a big message through a calm voice and a smooth groove. No shouting, no judgment, just a gentle reminder. Sometimes what you already have is enough to make you stand tall and proud.
TV antennas in the back.
And that was 15 one-hit wonders that became a part of an entire generation's memories. You may have forgotten the names of the artists, but the moment a few notes begin to play, the years of your youth come rushing back. Which song on this list brings back the most memories for you? Share it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we continue exploring the timeless hits of the 1970s.